The new job numbers are out, and job growth slowed more than expected last month. The Labor Department reports employers added 150,000 jobs to the U.S. economy in October. That's about half the gain seen in September, and several thousand less than what economists widely predicted. The unemployment rate also ticked up to 3.9%. It's been below 4% for nearly 2 years now, and that is the longest stretch seen in more than 5 decades. In responding to the report, President Biden challenged Republicans to join him in, quote, growing the economy and reducing inflation. He also accused them of, quote, making reckless threats to weaken our economy and prioritizing tax cuts for the wealthy and for large corporations. CBS News senior business and tech correspondent Jo Ling Kent joins us here now in Studio 57. Jo Ling, it is so good to have you here. Let's just start off by talking about how hiring slowed significantly.
Yeah.
And that's actually what the Fed has been pushing for with all of these interest rate hikes. Explain how this could actually be good news for the economy.
Well, if you're in Fed Chair Jerome Powell's seat, he's looking for a Goldilocks jobs report this month, and he pretty much got that.
Right.
Even though it came in just below expectations, the idea here is that hiring is really cooling off. We had an economy that was reporting a lot of growth in the third quarter of this year and a lot going on in that department. And what the Fed wants to see is a little bit less hiring so that inflation will continue to tick down to that 2% rate that has been their target for so long now. We're starting to slowly get there.
Yeah. And the Labor Department says that the UAW strikes actually had a significant contribution to this jobs report.
Yes.
Now that those strikes are over and resolved, do we expect that that's going to impact what we see in the next jobs report?
Yeah, it certainly will. And what we saw is basically about 30,000 jobs because of the UAW strikes were shaved off of this jobs report. And this really kind of returns us to a jobs report that you might have seen pre-pandemic, before things really went wild up and down during the pandemic. And so what we're seeing here is gains in other places like government jobs. Federal government jobs are back to where they were pre-pandemic. And so some of these leveling off is a good, stable sort of data point for the Federal Reserve. We'll see what happens next, though. December is the next Federal Reserve meeting where we might get a rate cut, but so many small business owners...
Do you think that a cut is possible, or do you think that we're likely going to get another pause?
I meant to say that we could see another hike.
Oh, okay.
And so, yes, there will not be any cutting.
I was surprised when you said that. Okay.
No, exactly.
All right.
Thanks for that catch. And so basically what we could expect in December is either a hold steady, like what we just saw this week for the second time in a row, or we could see a hike. And so what we're all watching right now and what the Fed is watching is this enough to keep the economy cooling down without triggering a recession? So if there's another hike, that makes money borrowing even more expensive, which means small business owners, people who are looking for new mortgages, new car loans, credit card debt holders, they would be paying even more. Would that be too much on the economy? Fed Chair Powell is watching all of that extremely carefully to try to figure out what comes next. But this jobs report certainly helps the case to hold things steady at that sort of Goldilocks just right.
And so people who have been watching the economy are really happy with these jobs numbers. But for people who are at home, who are maybe searching for a job, what does this potentially mean as we see the unemployment rate sort of ticking up? Is this going to hurt them?
We're still in a really tight labor market, and there is a lot of hiring going on. And so as these rates continue to be high, it's still expensive for small businesses and large businesses to expand and grow. So it's still a good labor market if you're looking for a job, but it kind of depends what you're looking for. And so looking at it as a whole, it seems like if we can avoid a recession, that's a really good thing. But certainly there's not a ton of new investment going on in jobs, so you don't see as much expansion. But this still is a pretty good market for people if you're looking for a job.
All right. Jo Ling Kent, so good to have you here on set and here at CBS. Thank you.
Thank you.